The Grenadines, SVG.
15 minutes on to 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WEFM 99.9, the clean, fresh sound. And this is your It's Your Turn program. Remember, It's Your Turn is an interactive program. So the numbers to call are 457 9997 if you're calling from a local landline, 532 9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone. Or you could call or send us a message on WhatsApp at 457 9997. The It's Your Turn program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil Ryan and Mr. Joel Providence. Good morning to you, Joel.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning to Vincentians and other listeners to It's You at Hand. It's good to be back on a program such as this. We're now into November, and last week we were speaking about our independence. It's not necessarily entirely all over in terms of the celebrations, but be that as it may, we have lots of things to talk about, but certainly there are a couple of issues relating to last Sunday and what transpired after the program on Sunday evening and into Monday. So we have lots to talk about. It's very interactive, and we would certainly encourage your participation in our discussions today. Remember, the number to call is 457-9997, either by WhatsApp or directly. I'm sitting in for Mr. Cecil Ryan, who is not in studio today, but nevertheless, he is certainly a part of the program. And I would like to say a very special good morning to you, Cecil.
Thank you very much, Joel. Good morning to you, and good morning to Kieran, and good morning to all our listeners and followers on WEFM and on Star FM, Star Radio, and the Garifuna, and other means by which people are following us. Good morning to all, and it's good to be on another Sunday. I'm not there physically, but I will be there. Hope to be there physically next week, Sunday. Joel.
Okay, great. We look forward to having you back in this seat, Cecil, so that you can take over the reins as you have been doing for the last 25 years. P. John has just joined us, and as I looked up, and certainly would be glad to have P. John with us in the program. Otherwise, it certainly would have been a lonely exercise. So. Although you're on the outside, but we have great things to talk about, and
of course,
great things to talk about. It's going to be a great program, and we certainly invite persons to join the program or just spread the word that that the program is going to be great and exciting, and we certainly invite you to participate if you so wish by calling. P. John, welcome.
Thank you very much, and good morning. Good morning, Cecil. Good morning, Kieran. I mean, I apologize for being a little bit late. I think every Vincentian knows that cooking gas run out on Sundays. That was my situation. So it's good to be back. Another edition of It's Your Turn. Quite a number of things happening. For some strange reason, I'm looking forward to Tuesday night.
Yes, certainly. We certainly, I believe, Cecil and Pija, we really have to have at least put in a few minutes to talk about Tuesday night. As I remember, Tuesday goes over into Wednesday, into the following week, and probably all the way to January the 6th. But we can talk about that later.
I was taken by surprise when I saw someone who claimed to be a Vincentian in the MAGA crew. I'm very, 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 very vocal.
Is that the female? Is that the female person from somewhere on the website?
I don't know if you saw it too.
I saw it, I guess, courtesy Joel, actually, but I saw it. I have.
Well, sometimes you never know why people think the way that they do. There are always persons who would just simply oppose what we believe to be good and progressive and so forth, and just simply take a different position. But we can go in detail on that.
It's one of those things that could have an impact on us and worldwide, whatever way it goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, listeners to Issue at Hand, we had a good program last week. So, and then we know we ended the program just after 1 o'clock last Sunday, Independence Day. And then there was, I actually said to Cecil earlier on, then we had the parade, but maybe the parade, you describing it as the parade as a misnomer of sorts. And, but we had an event, a national independence event at Victoria Park. So we can speak about that as a kickoff, and then we can talk about some of the activities that took place on the following day, the Monday, whether from Chateaubriand to Rabaco to wherever and so forth. So let's talk about the Sunday evening and the whole question of national pride and how it manifested itself on Independence evening at the Victoria Park and elsewhere. Cecil, you want to take a
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
take a shot at it?
I can face the first ball. Um, and incidental, Joel, I'm sure you'd be pleased to come back to talk about West Indies a little while from now. But anyway,
Yes. Okay, we can.
no. Yeah, I'm just saying that I'd be happy to take the first ball at the first.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yes, but
in
go ahead
terms of
and
the yes, yeah, and I was very impressed. First of all, with the turnout. It was amazing. It was an amazing turnout, and as I looked on, I saw that the turnout covered men and women, young people, older people, and they were all decked out in the colors of the national flag. And it was again, it reminded me of how semi-final carnival used to be packed in them early days, Joel, in the 80s and so on, because all the grounds were taken, the seating areas were taken, and it looked fantastic. So that I was, and the expression of what I thought was unity, patriotism, nationalism on among those who were in attendance physically, that is at the park. And I'm sure if one were to be able to judge from persons like myself and others who are listening, not being there physically, I'm sure you'd have gotten a sense that it's a real significant event in the calendar of St. Vincent and the Grenadines moving on from independence. The activities on the ground itself, I thought I they were good. I was impressed with the display of um if you like discipline from the I don't want to mention, and I don't want to focus on the military part, but there was a parade.
the uniformed
The uniformed, the
groups.
uniform. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The uniformed personnel. It was good, and I was especially pleased to know that first of all, as usual, the cadet performed and displayed themselves wonderfully. And then the contingent from the UK, the Vinci contingent from the Marines, Royal Marines in the UK. That was so refreshing to see them. I know some may have a difficulty that they were coming from, they live in the quote unquote our former colonizer and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, they came and took part, and that was refreshing. And also, of course, the Grenadian contingent. I thought again it's pointing to the fact that we really need to strengthen this feeling, and if you like this thrust towards regional unity. And given the fact also that our own um, police took part some not long ago in Grenada in their own celebration, and the fact that just recently our prime minister was the feature speaker in Grenada when they were celebrating National Heroes Day. I think those things point us to the need for us to have a greater push towards unification, regional unification. And I think that parade on Sunday, again reminded us in a very strong way that we ought to be pushing forward towards that. We're not going to be looking back. Let's just push forward and achieve those minor perhaps, but they're significant milestones. And we need to push and make them more make them stronger and more real and more urgent. So those are the comments I would like to make, Joel, on the question
Okay,
of the
before you
parade.
go say to the Monday, anything else? Peter, do you want to
Yeah.
say anything about the parade itself
Well,
or what we call the parade? But
Yeah.
it is a military parade, whether Cecil and other persons want to accept it or not. I know some years ago there was this drive to this discussion about what is the purpose of a military parade in a 2x4 country, what kind of military we could boast about. But you have to put yourself in the suit of a cadet or a scout, and or even a young police officer, and try to imagine what it is like for them leading up to that, and how they themselves feel about being in such a involved in such an activity. I The last parade I attended was 5 years ago when we had celebrated our, I think it's 40th anniversary of independence. I was a participant as a young cadet officer in the first ever parade. And every time I go to a parade, there's this feeling of nostalgia. Sometimes I get emotional because I know what it is like to be on the field there. And this parade of military and non-military uniform organizations was fantastic. First of all, the crowd, the attendance. I think that is the largest crowd I've ever seen in Victoria Park in my lifetime.
Agreed.
I am not
Agreed.
exaggerating at all.
Agreed.
I don't share that view, but
Uh,
certainly above the certainly on the concrete and in the pavilions and so on. But when you take like the Soca Monarch, because remember the Soca Monarch is on the grounds, but certainly in terms of any event of its nature where the grounds were not fully utilized, I would certainly say yes, it's the biggest crowd.
Well, for me, it was the biggest crowd I've ever seen because
sure,
I
sure.
don't go Soca Monarch.
well, PJ is for sure is the biggest national independence celebration crowd.
Yes.
There's no
For
doubt
sure.
about that.
I had a little problem with the lighting at times. I think there were times when the lighting should have been higher or brighter, so we could see better the troops on parade. But it was part of the performance, part of the display, and perhaps we should reconsider the amount of lumens they use to show what is going on in the park. That's my only little issue. The idea of the cultural show at the end, I think that was a very good idea. It needs some work. We need to get more seamlessly into the follow-up activity. Although I think the trade and the succeed to a certain extent, but it could be still a bit more seamless. And the performers were great. I particularly enjoy the opening acts. Ronnie and company. I can't remember her name because some K1, I think Edwards, I think. That was all. Like I said, that was fantastic, and it could have been a show by itself. That could have been the only reason for us coming to Victoria Park.
Well, certainly it was. I believe it was a motivating and it was promoted.
Yes,
and so forth. And it's different. It's unusual. It's a night activity evening, something different. The next day is a public holiday. So I think all of that contributed. But it doesn't matter. At the end, the response was fantastic when you take the entire package together.
Prior to the opening the show, these cultural presentations, were the dancers. They were very good. But again, the lighting a little bit, you couldn't see much. Well, I don't even mind if the issue with me, but I thought the lighting was a bit too low for the dancers. But then there was a piece of drumming. I don't know if you heard it. I paid
I
attention
didn't.
to the drumming.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention. I didn't hear it.
The drum was talking.
Well, that's what he's supposed to
Which
do. That's
one?
what he's
Which,
supposed to do.
is this with Rodney Small on the drums, or
I don't know. If it was, I couldn't make out the person on the drum.
yeah, there are a group of drummers on the drummer key in the
Yes,
middle.
yes,
And that was
yes.
Rodney Small.
Yeah. Wow. That was amazing.
But that I
So, so,
don't.
so, Pigeon, what was it? What was it? Drum saying?
I don't know. Happy independence.
Okay,
Talking.
okay. Well, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Singing.
Well, I think maybe we can invite Rodney to call in a short while. But I just wanted to make my comment first on it before maybe Rodney can just take a few on the Independence evening, and anyone else who had something specifically on that, because we have a lot of other things.
One last
to
comment
cover.
about the crowd, the behavior of the crowd. I think we should give a fantastic round of applause to the crowd in attendance.
Yes, yes, yes.
Stood when they were supposed to be standing, took the seat when they were supposed to be seated, and basically participated and cheered on the troops in a vociferous manner. Um, the Prime Minister's address, well, as usual, A1. Um, what I noticed too, despite the crowd, people sat and listened to the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
And that's a good sign. And I think, as Cecil said, everything came out, particularly patriotism for St. Vincent and Grenadines came out on that day. And the idea of putting the parade in the evening, despite the reservation that some people had, it seemed to have worked wonderfully well.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
not
Pigeon,
sure.
in my view, undoubtedly it worked, and I was going to make that the same comment you made there. Undoubtedly, because I believe that is contributed also to the attendance
Yes,
in
yes.
in the park, and it was cool evening. Didn't have People were not pressed with other things to go to and other
All
activities to do at home.
I think
Yeah,
yes,
Joel.
it's all the elements lined up nicely for
Nicely.
this particular event.
Yeah.
What happens next year? It's a consideration. We hope that it continues, but when would it take place? Would it take place on the evening before the Independence holiday, or would it take place on the evening of Independence itself, and that we're going back to work the next morning? So that is
I it
something.
is Well, it is my view it ought to take place on the day of independence itself. That is the day we are recognizing and we're celebrating. So it must take place on the day. Other arrangements could be made in terms of the subsequent day, Israel, in terms of holiday. That's a different issue. But for me, it must take place on the day itself. But I just wanted to say quickly, in addition to that, Pigeon was mentioned a little while ago, the PM's address. As expected, it was, as you said, Pigeon, A1, but also people have come to expect certain things, announcements being made. And I think the PM and the government came good with respect to those announcements. And people may think it's linked what he said about the packages and so on, salaries and wages packages. People may think it's linked to independence. So if sorry to election, but so be it. You have um, a, a government that is, in my view, considerate and compassionate, and they reflect it. So that's all well and good. So I think for me, like the rest of the elements, the thing was well in place. So Pigeon, the issue raised about the lighting, Angel, I hope those who were pivotal in the organization of the event would have been taking, I'm sure they would have been taking notes and they would be doing the evaluation so that come next year, things would be improved. That is where that I see it.
I have, and let me put it this way, an additional view to what you both said in relation to the Prime Minister's address. And I will say what that view is shortly. But I just wanted to make the statement about the challenge of so much persons at Victoria Park on Sunday evening last. I had to circle Kingstown, and I ended up getting parking in somewhere in Stony Ground.
Good,
And then
good,
I
good little walk. Good little,
the
little walk for
exercise
you.
was good, yeah.
Yes.
And then when I got into the park, I did. The crowd was, it was a little bit too much for me to handle. And with my own personal issues, I thought that the best thing for me to is head back home and look at it on television. And that is basically
That's what Pigeon
what I did
and I fall into the same category, Joel, and that's why we made the decision to to not appear physically. But
But
physically. And it
I,
was,
I, I did attend physically, Cecil.
oh, you were there?
I
I
was
thought you
there.
say. Oh, sorry. I thought
Yeah, I
you
was
said.
oh,
there.
that's it. What is it?
Okay.
He has never been to a soca monarch. So that's why.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's why I said
Okay.
in my lifetime, that's the biggest crowd I've ever experienced in
Oh, I
Victoria.
see. Biggest
Yes,
crowd you've
but
seen. Okay.
I had a discussion last evening with former Minister of Government, the erstwhile Senator and Minister of Health prior, and we talked about the possibility, and as many some persons, if not many persons, would have mentioned about the moving the event from Victoria Park to Addersvale as a consideration, and I believe that that could very well be a consideration. But someone also mentioning that, well, maybe the crowd can occupy more space on the ground because we did not take up all of the concrete thing, and the parade ground itself, the field, maybe that can be pushed back somewhat, and so that you can allow to maybe allow another 1,000 or 2,000 persons easily to be standing comfortably to the front. So that may be a consideration, but there were still other challenges with regard to the use of Victoria Park, and I think that's significant care must be exercised. There was some security risk as well, which I don't necessarily want to go into now. And so this is one of the things that we need to talk about.
Have we ever used Annisville before?
Not for the parade purpose.
I
Not for the
believe that
independence.
we did.
For independence
I
celebration.
believe so, but someone can call and correct me.
Yeah,
But I believe
yeah.
that we did. I believe that
But
Victoria Park was not available. Um, so it's, 1 or maybe even 2 years, and then we went to Anna's Vale. But if someone can call in and
Well, I could tell you now that we did use Annisville before,
honestly,
we did.
and
we
I
did.
I could recall attending that one in Annisville with my children.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I think the Honest option is a good one because Pigeon certainly you will have a problem with lighting.
right.
The lights are there, and the question of seating, there's no issue with seating. There's no issue with parking. Certainly in the immediate we're talking about, and the atmosphere there, the breeze from this, it would be just ideal for that in my view. It might be a little bit challenging for persons coming from the leeward side in terms of the distance, but I'm
Yes, yes.
not yeah, but they can easily reach out. I mean,
Yeah,
reach
and
on
things can be arranged. I think
arranged.
we can
Yeah,
have, because I'm certain that next time around that there'll be more persons. We
I
have a
agree.
call. Just the call. If you can just either hold for a minute, or just call back in 2 minutes as I make my closing comment on this, and then we can actually have some persons call in, and then we can also invite Rodney Small to express his views on it, and then we can move on to the Monday, and then we have quite a few other things to talk about. I just wanted.
Joel, it'd be
Yeah.
good to if Randy could use his drum to speak to us this morning. Pigeon.
Well, maybe you can tell us exactly what you were saying and
Yeah,
so
all
forth.
right.
Rodney, we expect you
I
to
have no
share.
idea Rodney had that skill.
Yeah, so well, you can talk to us shortly, literally and figuratively. I just want to say, first of all, it has always been a parade, going back from the very beginning. military or of our uniformed forces out and so forth. It has. I remember even as a schoolboy and so on, participating and so forth, and as a scout, and so on, going way back when. And I asked the question though: is this what we should be presenting? It's part of our. It's now ingrained in our culture, but is this what it should be? It's a national independence event, and should it focus on and revolve around things relating to our national identity, our culture, yes, our pride, our what reflect captures Vincentians, how we have progressed, how we have developed, and so forth, and the issues, everything there should speak to these issues relating to the Vincentian people, the Vincentian psyche, the Vincentian character, and where we are, and so forth, and where we are going. I believe personally that that is where our focus should be, and so on. That is that's my view on the issue. On that particular question, I would love to see, even though that we lost an opportunity on, I think it's November 25th, 2009, to make certain changes about advancing the cause, purpose, identity, ambition of the Vincentian people, and so forth. That opportunity is not lost forever. And that I think that we can use independence each year to make announcements, proclamations in relation to the changes that we will continue to pursue and to implement, which the changes that the Constitution would allow us to make without necessarily a referendum, and so forth. And I would love to see things like that, and I would want to discuss some of them a bit later. But by and large, in addition to the presentation of the position in relation to scholarships, to COLA, to and so forth, naming of sporting ambassadors and so on, and that is significant. And those two are the indication of our progress as a people. But I would also love to see each time at Independence that that we speak specifically to the changes, improvements, the development of the Vincentian character. And I just simply wanted to add that as well. You may not necessarily agree with me, but that is just my particular view on the issue. With your permission, I would love to invite. Well, let's just take this.
I wanted to respond a little bit, Joel.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly. In general and in principle, I agree to you in respect to our, if you like, introduction, bit by bit, of what we would want to see in the revised constitution. But if my memory serves me well, I think clause 38, subsection 1, I think, of the existing constitution dictates how we move forward on that. Because as I recollect, and I remember as a member of the Constitution Review Commission then, we had a debate on that. And I remember the late Parnell Campbell QC. He did provide guidance as to why. I certainly explained why we were required to do it the way we did in terms of presenting an entire package. And I recall him also referencing, I think it's section 38, subsection 1 of the Constitution. Those of people who have access to it may wish to look at it. But we would have to be very clear and be very that we understand the existing constitution, but because we cannot, as a matter of fact, do anything in terms of changing the existing constitution outside of the legal context of what the existing one would allow us to do. So I just want to.
Yeah, sure. There changes have been made. Changes have been made recently in the past, and certainly I'm not saying that there'll be there just simply be a change will be made by an announcement, but there would be a process. But certainly that process being initiated, and I do not think, I certainly can't be that the only way that you can change any element or any article within the Constitution that has to come through a wholesale change of pretty much everything through or most things through a referendum. Certainly not. That's not my view. But then again, I bow to those who know better.
Yeah.
And I will also take my time to go back and read the.
But also remember, there are the fundamentals of the Constitution which we can't change like that. It must come through a referendum.
Yeah.
Two-thirds
There are
in the
some that are
Parliament and
entrenched. There are
two-thirds
those
of
that are
those voting.
entrenched, which require whether it's 2/3 or 6. I can't remember, but
Two-thirds of,
2/3,
of,
right.
of
So
those voting and
that is
two-thirds of the
fine. So
Parliament.
I'm not necessarily speaking of those that are entrenched necessarily, but there's certainly, I do believe, in any event, there's some changes that could be made that are captured outside of the Constitution, change that can be made. Certainly, like the even like the renaming of places, things,
Oh yeah.
symbols, we don't need the
Oh,
Constitution.
oh yeah. Those are not constitutional matters. So I
Right.
agree too.
So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
even
I
like,
agree. I
and they
agree.
don't have to be done wholesale one time in one given
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Every year, you can say we're going to do this in 2025 and in
Yeah.
2026 and we go up the road until we get rid of the last vestiges of our colonial legacy and so on.
Which
So I
is the
think
Constitution itself, and which is what I am advocating, that we should move, and you said it, to change it eventually.
eventually, and it can
Yeah.
things kind of bring. But okay, so that's where it is. That's just my view on with regard to the events of last Sunday. But I'd
Yeah.
just like to add Rodney to call. Let's take this call, Cecil and Pigeon.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Hello, good morning. It's your time. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Ryan Pigeon.
Morning.
Good morning,
Hey,
sir.
the man himself,
Yeah.
the speaker, the drum speaker himself is on.
Yeah, talk to us with either by words or by drum notes, by the beat of the drum.
I'll do by words this time.
So it was really you beating that drum, sir?
Yes, sir. And some other young men. We have a group called the Drumbo Family.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Right,
this. I'm talking about
yeah,
this solo, the lead solo.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
wow,
it was
wow, wow.
myself well, it was two of us at one time. It
About
was
you.
myself and a guy Shane Wayne.
Good. So
Is Shane, what, Rodney, is Shane the gentleman who teams up with Zimbo?
Yes, that young
Oh,
man.
he's good. He's definitely
Yeah,
good.
Very good.
Yes.
Very, very good. Yeah.
So what's your are you satisfied with the cultural presentation of what hiccups you had, if any, and generally what is the feedback that you got regarding to the cultural component of last Sunday's event?
Well, just a bit of a correction, right? And the thing that we always wanted, and when I say we, was the National Independence Committee, was we weren't trying to create a situation where it's us and them. And when I say that, meaning the cultural package and the military parade, everything was one entire production. So it wasn't where I was dealing with the cultural side and the police rep on the board, on the committee was dealing with the military parade. It was one production. So everything from leaving Uptown, coming onto the field of the parade, into the cultural thing was one storyline, right? I've been seeing a lot of comments and I've been listening to a lot of comments, and I realized that there are some persons who realized what the concept was, and then some persons who thought that it was two different things, right? Well, as I just mentioned, there was an independence committee, which the Superintendent Simmons was a representative from the police on the committee, along with myself and some other persons from CDC, because CDC is the secretariat for the independence committee, and the minister is the chairman, and he would appoint somebody to lead in his absence, right? So,
And Rodney,
a lot
just
of
for
things
clarification,
was
you mean the minister of
culture, sorry.
culture?
Yes,
All right.
Minister Carlos James, sorry.
Mr. James. Okay,
Right?
all right.
So there are a lot of significant things that happened with this particular parade, and a lot of research went into it. And as the person who was charged to write the production and to be the production manager, it took a lot of research and a lot of conversation, not from just my end only, but also from the committee members and some persons who were around during 1979. So a lot of what we saw didn't just fall out the sky or it was anything new. What was new about it is the new technology, the new innovation, the different ideas in terms of where we are, in terms of creativity and entertainment and just culture, right? So when we, and I said we, when I use we here, I mean the Independence Committee, when we made the case, because the case has been around for quite a while, there are other persons who are making a call to put the parade in the evening, right? So this year, the National Committee decided to put a proposal looking at the pros and the cons of having the parade in the evening, and we submit it to the commissioner, and the commissioner endorsed it and he approved it, and then he moves on to the Minister of National Security and to the cabinet, and the cabinet approved it in principle, but they call us in for 2 meetings actually to explain and to give the vision and make sure that we have all the logistical stuff and the technical stuff ironed out, because there are a lot of things that could have gone wrong. You know what I mean? Especially with the overall concept of what we wanted. And I think understanding what happened in 1979 that, to help create the emotional attachment and the connection of what happened. So for me as a young man, I was never there for 1979, but I would want to have an idea of what it was like now in 2024 using some of what happened then. So I went out and I started to talk to Mr. Uragi. I spoke to Mr. Michael Peters and just some average persons who were there just to get an idea of what it felt like, what was the mood of the people, what happened, what was so significant, what did you like, and just to be able to come back now in 2024 and basically present that and try to represent a feel and a mood, and not so much just the visual, but mainly the feel. That if I could use this very loosely, I think that there's an energy that is moving throughout St. Vincent and Grenadines for us as Vincentian that is making us so proud. And I think that was one of the major success of the turnout. It's not just the parade, it's not just the cultural element, but it's really, there's something about us that is that really want us to express how we feel about being Vinci, right? And that is something that we observe as a committee, right? So what happened, guys, is that we looked at some of the significant things that happened in 79. One, the raising of the flag, right? The night parade. And having a conversation with Michael Peters, I said, what would you say was the wow factor in 79? And he said to me, long ago, the police used to use batons, right? Now we use a lot of guns. And some of the officers put lights on their batons. And then I was like, okay, wow, that's interesting. So what we decided is that we're going to put lights on the firearms of the main display. So that's why you saw when we did a full block out of the park, we had about 30 lights around the Victoria Park in terms of moving head to create a lighting display. And at that particular moment, when the police officers formed into the 45, we took off all the lights and the firearms. Basically, we turned on the lights on the firearm, and that's when the whole entire Victoria Park was like, wow.
How much rehearsal went into that prior to the event to make sure that it was...
Well, the police officers would do their regular daytime rehearsal Tuesday, Thursdays. But
I'm speaking in terms of the lighting to make sure that the technical details.
One. And I could tell you this, and I find it very interesting, is that one day we decided to lock the public out of the park. I mean, they would be there every Tuesday and Thursday. And we had hundreds of persons was outside making noise. They want to come and see. We come in here every Tuesday, every Thursday, and we simply say to them, just give us 1 hour. We just want to see how something would look. And every single time we reached that particular part of the parade, rain came, and we had to cover down all the lights. So we were able to get one opportunity to see it with the drone. So we fly the drones, and I want to big up VC3 and API and NBC radios and all those persons who were involved in the technical and the media part. So we got one little window where we were able to fly the drone and saw how the display looked from above. And that is what we use. And said, you know what? We got to trust the process because the rain keep coming. As I said, we had about 30 lights around the park, right? So I know persons were talking about the lighting and all of that. Yes, I mean, the bulbs and the lights at the Victoria Park is not ideal, it's not the best. And I would make an appeal to the government to see if we can change those and change them to brighter LED lights. I mean, so it would help. But a lot of it was mainly production in terms of lighting, design, and display that would help with the feel of what was happening. So the production actually started from the display. I don't know if persons realize that the police had blinking lights on their body. Now, one of the things quickly, because I know other persons would want to come in, we started investigating a drone show because that is now the new thing. And when I reached out to the company, they told me 90,000 US release
What?
for 300 drones to give you that impact that you would want. Don't have that kind of money.
Yes, I mean, I know
Yeah,
Grenada did that for their 45th earlier this year.
Yeah.
The 50th,
Yeah,
sorry,
and
the
they had
50th.
and they had more drones. We wanted 300, and 300 was 90,000 US. So I said to the committee, I said, we can do a ground show instead of a drone show. So let's put some body lights on the police officers. So when they start moving, it would look like if actual drones are moving. I mean, I know a lot of persons didn't get to see the fine details of that because of the crowd, right? So when the two troops who were making the display started to move off, persons were actually seeing the lights blinking on them, right? So when you get an overhead shot, it looks like if machines are moving in different places. So we use some very simple coastal lights, coastal lights in terms of the lights that you put in a glass when you're in a party to light up your glass.
Yes, yes.
And we stick them on the police officers. Then on top of that, we took some fairy lights and put them on the firearms. And we took our time for the rehearsal and put them on 80 firearms. We took them back off after the rehearsal and redo them again because obviously the interaction would have messed with some of them. And we sat there at the SSU and with the police officers, and they were very, very, very cooperative. And I mean, it was really a good time. I mean, working along with them. So the point I was making, it wasn't them and us, or it wasn't culture and military, right? It was one entire thing. And what we wanted is that as soon as the troops fall out, the cultural aspect fall in right away. So that's why you saw when the last troop went off of the field, you saw 30 dancers running in on the field. And those 30 dancers represented our traditional culture. It was the punta dancers, it was the drummers. And then, yes, they were meant to be in a very gloomy, lighting atmosphere to really show what we're coming from, because there was a voice of God. There was a narrative that was talking about where we're coming from. But we didn't want to show the struggle of our traditional culture. We wanted it to be happy because one of the things that Mr. Urage told me, in 1979, the mood of the people was very joyful and happy. And that is what we wanted to replicate at Victoria Park.
Rodney, I understand everything you're saying and I accept. But one thing that I miss personally was the Uptown Parade. In 1979, I was part of the Uptown Parade. And the troops didn't just march up the road. The troop jig or trip or dance all the way up the road.
With appropriate music.
With the appropriate music. And I'm speaking personally. It's a little bit of a nostalgia, not being able to see that aspect of it. But I think perhaps with the new arrangements, that there's no place for that.
Not that we had a couple of back and forth conversations about it from the cabinet level and from the committee level, and it would have just made sense for us to not go back up the road in terms of to introduce the cultural package, because from people leave the Victoria Park, it's very hard to get them to come back, right? But that is something that in our review and our recommendations we included that spectacle. Because as you rightfully said, based off of the history, the Uptown element of it in 1979, it was what really created that joy, that celebration, that happiness, right? And we really, really wanted to do it. Our idea was to put about 4 different floats going up the road. But again, as I said, to accommodate the cultural package, we had to really, this year in particular, just eliminate that part of it.
How about the choice of music? Choice of tunes selected by the band. It was good to hear Teaser being played to a marching beat, and other soca songs being played to a marching beat.
what I could say is that I think for the mood of the band and the police, I can't speak directly in terms of the creative expression in terms of why they selected that. But I remember in a conversation they wanted to just feature our music, and when I say our music, I mean Grenadines. And there was a twist to the teaser arrangement. I don't know if you heard it, where there was some military element in there with some jazzy stuff inside there. So I think from a creative standpoint, the band leader or the arranger of it really wanted to display that, we have our own music and we can incorporate other styles and genres. Just like the cultural package, we handpicked the performers because we know how diverse the audience would have been. That's why you had gospel, you had folk, you had reggae, and you had the raga, you had calypso, and you had the soca, because these are also genres that we do here on an original basis in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I mean, there are a lot of persons who thought that was so fitting, and I think is a song that we need to project some more. We need to keep reminding persons that is one of our songs, and I think it was the most powerful performance I've seen of that song in terms of vocally, right? So I mean, from the police band and their selection, I cannot speak on the creative direction, but I do know that they wanted to highlight our music.
Rodney, from the point that Pigeon raised about the culture presentation and your response to it, yeah, I agree that, the effect that you wanted to create with the entrance at the beginning of the cultural package. But cannot that be arranged at different points up along the street in Kingston itself? In other words, if, for example, the entrance part of the culture, and you may wish to change it around, be done someplace when the band leaves Victoria Park, someplace around, I don't know, someplace around and around
Okay, yeah, I see.
someplace up beyond Victoria Park, beyond the entrance to the hospital, and then another element, another component take place someplace else uptown, and then another component takes place elsewhere uptown, and even Backstreet coming. And so you see the effect. The whole of Kingston becomes
different
a
intervals.
cultural venue. Yeah. So I was wondering, you may wish to give consideration to that.
Yeah, I love that. So like they just activate different cultural elements at different points.
I
mean, and then one thing about Kingston is that there are a lot of cultural significance in and around Kingston.
Exactly.
So like different points you can say, okay, this is what used to happen here, and we can give a representation of it. That's a very good idea.
But of course,
and the jig effect that Pigeon talked about. It can happen. No, it can happen along when people jig to the next point, and jig to the other points. That's a jig effect.
Yeah, correct.
Pigeon.
Okay. And then of course you had an entire weekend. You can have different activities. There's a quick question. Maybe I might have missed it. Did Vibrated Skate sing?
No, he didn't. We reached out and we weren't successful in getting him. In terms of it's not that he refused or anything. It's just that we tried reaching him. I tried reaching him about 2 or 3 times and didn't get it.
Okay. All right, but I think that
it would have been ideal, eh?
Yes. The good thing, God willing, that there will be more independence celebrations like this.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room for. Sorry, Mr. Providence. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. When I say God willing, meaning that not that we will have more independent celebrations and Vibrated Skates will be around to participate.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of room for improvement, and one of the greatest things is that we've been accepting a lot of suggestions and recommendations that are what I would say are very, very, very fruitful, very, very, very fruitful, and it shows that there are a lot of persons who are connected to it and understand the mission and where we want to take it. Because I mean, a lot of persons are saying that we should change it. Right now, just to correct you, the police estimate was about 18,000 persons in the Victoria Park.
Not possible. Oh, in and around, meaning outside.
In and around Victoria Park. Because the same crowd that was inside on the concrete was the same crowd outside waiting to come in.
Wow.
Right now, the Prime Minister's security came to me, and I think I could say this now. After the formalities and the PM spoke, and he went into a secure area where he could look at the parade. He asked us to remove the barricades. So the barricades were removed, and the entire concrete area was used. The is to come on the field, and that's simply because we had a lot of lights and a lot of cables running across. No, Sokomalaka has never seen that type of numbers.
Right.
Right, Sokomalaka went up to about the most 11 to 12,000 of my time.
No, I've heard CDC officials say, again, whether it's on ticket sales or what, that about 14 or 15,000. But I find it difficult when you take in terms of the capacity of the pavilions and so forth, that to see, despite the crowd, that 18,000 persons could be inside Victoria. Well, around is okay. We take the around too, but I mean the around is let's focus on the in.
Right. But
no, except to say everybody came to be part of the celebration. So even if they couldn't get in, or even if they were liming outside, they came for the same reason to be part of the celebration. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, persons are saying
by the way,
right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
By the way, no, I was just saying. By the way, Rodney hasn't told us yet what the drum was saying.
Yeah, he's not saying that you didn't say what the drums were saying. But
I made the point that the drums were talking.
All right. So
I don't know. That's not something I could translate, but I think it was a atmosphere. It was. I mean, a lot of persons. I mean, there are persons who are deeply involved in listening to drums and I mean the feel of it. But I want to quickly make this point because I know you probably have other.
Yes, I think that we should close this segment shortly.
There are a lot of persons who are calling for the change in venue, right? Which I also agree because we are evolving, and from a production and a creative standpoint, we like spaces. We like big spaces. I mean, we like to utilize big spaces, but we also have to pay very close attention to the pros and the cons of it. Now, it means that if you go to Annisville, you no longer have that concrete area. If you go to Annisville, everybody has to stay in the stands. If you go to Annisville, there's some part of the audience who's going to get the back of the parade, right? If you go to Annisville, that crowd, that estimated crowd that we have in Victoria Park cannot hold in Annisville also, right? Annisville capacity is about 11,000 seated.
Yes.
Right? So we have to look at the pros and the cons. I will love it personally because it allows more space and from production standpoint, you can do a lot of things.
Rodney,
right?
We can make temporary arrangement in terms of the we can make temporary arrangements in terms of the use of the ground. I mean, it's not fixed.
I'm not disagreeing not to go to Annisville.
No, I know. I'm expressing but hear me. Even as you raised it, I'm expressing my view generally to whoever is listening.
Okay.
That we cannot be fixed into Arnoldville to be exclusively use the grounds for cricket, and then we can't do anything else. That's not life and living. We have to be dynamic. Yes, we used to do some things at Victoria Park. I recall when we used to put plywood where the concrete now is. So we have to be creative to make it suit our purpose.
Yeah, I agree.
We can't leave Arnoldville there as a venue for cricket and we locked out other things. Nah, that's not my view of the use of facilities. We have a limitation, but let's go see how we could go beyond those limitations.
Okay.
I totally agree. Right. And before I leave, Mr. Providence,
yes,
I just want to say this, that I'm gonna make an appeal, and it's in our review and our report, is that we have to now start treating the month of independence celebration just the same way we treat 9 mornings, just the same way we treat Carnival in terms of the support from the business houses, in terms of the sponsorship levels and all of that, because you saw what happened, and next year is going to be even bigger, because one of the greatest tools in marketing is word of mouth, right? Very, very cliche, very intimate. I mean, low budget. So next year is going to be bigger. So there are a lot of things that we would have to now consider in terms of funding. And I just want to say to the Vincentian public a major thank you on behalf of the entire national Independence Committee and the chairman, and let's continue to keep this energy and keep this momentum going. All right?
Yes, and we certainly would love
Thank
to
you.
maybe express on behalf of all Vincentians, because I have not heard an opposing view to this point, that the entire event put on by the NIC, the National Independence Committee, was a job well done, and I think that all Vincentians enjoyed what they saw, and they were all effusive in their praise of what took place last Sunday evening. You
And
played a
Rodney,
major role, so thank you to you and to
And
the
Rodney, we just
Most,
want to put on place on the record
most
that
welcome.
Isiot is very pleased with what happened, and as you people are hearing from our discussion, that we want certainly Isiot to be associated with the commendation of the great work that the Independence Committee has done, and you in particular for making the drums talk, so that Pigeon heard the talking, although you can't express, but Pigeon heard the talking, and I'm sure other people heard it as well.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, man.
Okay, thank you,
All right,
Rodney, and
welcome.
enjoy the
Take care.
rest
Have
of
a
the
good
day.
program.
Please continue to
All right,
listen,
you too,
because
guys.
we have some things that we also want to discuss in which you may have interest, but even though you're off air, certainly, we certainly would love
Yeah,
you
man.
to hear our discussions. Thank you very
I'll
much.
keep listening. Not a problem at all. Bye-bye.
Okay, great. Yeah, Rodney Small. Certainly, he is an important cog in the wheel of what we do culturally and just generally developmentally. So I just wanted to us to just go on to the Monday evening. There's another call. Let's take this other call quickly, and then we can talk about what took place at Rabaka in particular, and maybe to get some. The call is gone, but on the Monday afternoon, I don't know if any of you guys journeyed to Rabaka. I went out there, and so on. I wanted to get my madongo and
I hope you resolve some, Joel.
Yeah, let's see. Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for waiting.
Morning. Good program, my brother.
Good morning to you.
Morning, Johnny.
Johnny. Yeah, greetings to
Yes,
you.
my brother.
Yeah, welcome. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Greetings, everybody. Yeah, quite a while I've been calling Randy had the mic for quite a while.
Yes. Okay, over to you.
Victoria Park, I hear my homeboy Pigeon making some comments in terms of the most PT ever seen in Victoria Park. I personally second Pigeon, because I'm thinking I'm old enough. I never see that kind of crowd in Victoria Park, and I don't think we did expect such a crowd of people in Victoria Park. One of the things I see we could make some improvements on in terms of, like, for instance, I think Victoria Park too small to hold a show like that. That show was excellent. For instance, one of the better dance groups, which is a Rasta dance group, make a wonderful presentation. And when they spread out the 45, a lot of people couldn't see it, and I think we need some more lights and things to light it up, because some parts was dark. But outside of that, it was an excellent put together and everything. And that's what they get with teamwork. The quality of the teamwork would come,
Yes.
So it was excellent. But let me say hello to my homeboy Nico. 100% Vinci. I know you live in New York City. He does the home and seeing everything. He does in New York and see everything that takes place in Vinci. And that's what true Vinci,
Very good. And so I don't know if your homeboy will be voting on Tuesday, but we can talk about that.
But I hope. But Joel, not only voting, but voting for the right side.
For the right side, which could well be the left side.
Yeah. I agree with you.
You understand? But let me leave the call to go on, because I enjoy that show, but that show was rampant. I know a lot of people go back home because the place was too small, my brother.
Yeah, well, I am one of those persons who went back home after walking through the crowd, but I still don't see it being 18,000. But again, I am maybe the first to admit that I was wrong. But I still don't see it being 18,000.
I went to Victoria Park for a couple of shows, and I never see those parks in terms of the stage or the stage when they tell you put on a ramp up. Don't to the space, don't the entrance, don't the full. Behind the road full, because I was there. It was excellent, my brother.
I hear you, but when you add up the capacity of the pavilion, I'm not talking about the grounds for now, and the grounds would be significantly more. But when you add up to the seating in the pavilion, you're just probably talking maybe at most maybe 1,800 to 2,000 persons. That's it. So then you have to say that it is 16,000 or 15 to 16,000 persons were on the grounds. So I'm just saying for what it is worth. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to water down the side of the crowd. It was huge. I'm glad that the persons were there. I was also glad to see the persons in the national colors. I would say 98% of the persons present were in one or more colors of the national flag, and so on. So that was fantastic. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to, from my mind, just to speak the truth as I see it. But it's not necessarily the truth. As you said, you may think 18,000, but I think it's less. And I'm willing to admit that I am wrong. All right. Thank you, Johnny.
I could second you on that, because, I mean, it's a lot of people, man.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Let me say this before I go.
Yes.
We have a lot of cultures here, and we need to have more like these things and things that we could spread out the youth then. Not because like last is my dance group. I want to be better dance group in St. Vincent, you know.
St. Vincent, we have talent. We have talent. Okay, thank you very much, Johnny.
We have talent, man. A lot of talent behind the wall, behind and nobody seeing them. We need to let them go. And the sky is the limit. Let it fly.
Yes, great. Hello, good day. So talk to me with some words now. Hello. All right, the drums were
Joel,
talking.
Joel, I just wanted to ask Pigeon. Pigeon, is that what you heard?
With all due respect to that drummer.
I thought
Okay. All right, but let's talk about the Madongo Festival, which is on the Monday, particularly focusing on events at Rabaka, at Chatelier Park. I went out there and there were lots of people there. Again, I'm not going to get involved in terms of the numbers, just to say there's a lot of people, right? And it's all relative. And the lines were quite long, the waiting time to get Madongo and fish, Madongo and salt, Madongo and other stuff, along with other things and so forth.
Blackfish, Joel?
I think there's herring. I don't recall blackfish, but I think there's herring, saltfish, fish, and maybe something else. Okay. I remember what else was there, but the waiting time was a bit long because you had to wait for the Madongo to fry and so on. We also used to, when I was small, I used to bake the Madongo and so on. That is what my preference is, not ordinarily, but if you had to bake, the lines would stretch from Rabaka to Orange Hill.
Plus, that's too much work. That's too much work.
I actually, there was a lady who was selling popcorn. I don't know if she would be listening at this time. So I went, she was somewhere in the back of the tents and so on. So I went up to her and so on in relation to getting a bag of popcorn and so forth. And we negotiated the purchase of this bag of popcorn. And I met her in Kingston a couple of days afterwards. And she said that her sales were fantastic. And that pleased me more than anything else, and so forth. And, so and this is what it is all about. I mean, so you have the product and byproduct of the arrowroot and so on. Persons turn up, you get the music to go in it, the whole feel and so on. And we recognize the gastronomical significance, the cultural significance, and so on. And people came from far and near to be there, and so forth. And I believe that most of the persons who were involved in producing the event and selling the products and so on were happy with the results on Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Is it something though that it's maybe I don't think it should be relegated to one day at Rabaka. I understand it's a good bit of work involved, but certainly I believe that there are people in Barley and Chateaubalay and Leyu and so forth who would not necessarily would have loved to have, be part of it and to make a purchase and so on, but they weren't necessarily going to journey all the way out to Rabaka.
You see, each community has a particular trait or practice that is local to that community. So that side of the country, the Madongo festival is the thing. In Barley, is Bag of Fish Fest.
Right. But in terms of the Modongo itself, even though that by and large the bulk of the arrowroot and its products come basically, and it's linked with the association, it's from the northeast of St. Vincent, the mainland St. Vincent, and so forth. I still think that we should be able to spread the Modongo and what it means to all of us and treat it as a truly, genuinely national product and production given to us by the people of North Windward. And that is my view. And I think that, I mean, it's to their benefit, to the benefit of all of us, even though by and large it would still very much be an event. Well, let me to use what people say now, an OTR event. But that OTR event can take place elsewhere at different times, because I don't believe that that afternoon was enough and so forth. So that is
Joel, for
Mhm.
people who don't follow social media, you said OTR. What does OTR stand for?
You may
I
ask
think it's
which river, but
over the dry river, isn't it?
Over
the
the
dry
river.
river. Yeah, over the
Excuse-
river. Sorry,
Over the river, but which river? And basically, it's the Ravaka Dry River,
dry river. Yeah.
and so on.
All
So
right.
those who live over the river, and so on, that particular river. So,
All
but
right.
they are the people. The important thing is that the people who live over the river are quite happy to use the term, and I think that is very important, and so forth. And
Yeah,
they-
I agree. Just for those, even as you use it for persons who may not know what it means, I just thought
Yes,
it's important to say what it is, what
yes,
it means.
absolutely. Cecil and Pigeon, there are a couple of things, because we wanted, and persons feel free to calling about other things that might have transpired in the last 6 or 7 days as well. And we mentioned as well, we want to slip in a word edgeways about this upcoming event in the United States in 2 days' time. And so for the other things to talk about, but there are a couple of things that linked with independence that I just wanted to talk about quite as I'll be as quick as possible, but still invite your participation. Last Sunday, we wanted to play some independence songs and patriotic songs. So we played a little bit of Vibrating Skicks, Bomani's Islands, and CP had another one in Independence and so on. One of the songs that we wanted to play was Blackie Boo's Symbols of Independence. But WEFM did not have it in its vault, in its library, music library, and so forth. And it then dawned on me is that why is it that if another radio station, government owned in this, has the music, certainly, is there any way in which we can actually have this music, especially the music that is not properly recorded in a recording studio, going back 40 or 50 years and so forth, wherein the access to this music can be had and so forth, and to be shared, played, and so forth, not only by other radio stations for a fee. I believe that there should be a fee, but also utilized by schools and so forth, as people get to appreciate our music of the past.
In the interest of full disclosure, I think it was last year,
Yeah, last year,
I,
Pigeon. Yeah,
I attempted
you
to
made an
assist.
attempt.
I attempted to assist a teacher who wanted to teach that song from Ibu to students,
Yes.
and ended up but going to contacting the national radio station, only to be told there are copyright issues, and they couldn't assist. Although in conversation with the Ibu himself, he had no problem with me contacting them and getting it.
But did you have to do it in writing? Or?
No, I inquired,
Yes.
and I was told that it's not possible.
But maybe.
But doesn't the radio station play it as in their programming, Pigeon? NBC Radio.
I can't recall it.
Well,
hearing it.
So they played.
I know that.
I have heard it on
Right.
radio.
So
This is not.
but who do they pay the who do they pay for the use of it?
That's a good question.
No, I would not say. I more than likely no one. But I
Go
would
ahead,
think,
sorry.
Cecil, sorry, and Pigeon, that I think maybe we should be able to formalize this thing. And this is why the proposal is being put forward. Whether or not it's the radio station itself, who, the archivists in question now, or maybe the Ministry of Culture or Information and so on, that they can actually say, well, okay, this is what we're going to do with this huge reservoir, this huge vault, this library of local music and so forth. We will speak and contact and make an official arrangement with the legal owners of the material. And this is what we're going to do. We can use, create, do like Spotify or something, put it on available digital, make it available digitally. And if persons want to download it, and they can maybe even pay $1, whatever thing might be, and so forth. And then that they can actually share in the revenue, the actual legal owners and so forth. And allow also that if teachers want to use the material, is make it very easy and simple and so forth. It's an exercise that may be costly or may take some effort, but I believe with funding from, as a friend reminded me this morning, that maybe with funding from like UNESCO or other agencies, that it can be done and so on, and that persons can certainly enjoy whether at Independence time or not and so on.
No, but Joel, I personally feel that we don't. Well, yeah, that's okay, but we for permission to play a song like Ibu song, symbol of independence, we ought not to be going all that far. A teacher wants a copy of the song to play in her class for the benefit of the students. Why do we need to go all this way? We play skates, we play Beckett, we don't pay them as far as I am aware. So why and incidentally, the ownership for this particular product is the CDC, the Carnival Development Corporation. That is where it was played on Victoria Park on the final nights, as far as I recall.
The CDC and the writer and the singer.
Yeah, right, precisely. So it's not WEFM, it's not Hot FM, any other radio station. They were not the producers of the song. It's the CDC. So why should we not make it available for the purpose of, the significance of independence to students, wherever schools and so on, other radio stations? I think that is just reasonable and fair. So
like the Attorney General or someone can think, because we have our copyright laws and so on, and maybe there's something that can be done and so on to address this
as
issue.
well, as far as I'm concerned, is the CDC who and the writer and the who else you mentioned.
Cecil, we have we have a call.
Okay.
Let's see.
Sure. Go ahead.
Hello, good morning. It's your turn. Welcome. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Greetings.
Good morning. When Cecil is out,
Cecil is with us on the program, but not physically in
he's out the country.
No, I know. He's not in in Sid where he is now, but he's in
the studio.
He's in the program, so he's listening to you as you speak.
Yeah. I heard him, but no, he's not in the studio. So when Cecil is away, I would play.
Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
So
go ahead.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The program is open, and it really doesn't matter whether or not I'm there or whether or not you play. Other people play, and we play.
No, you
So
banned me. You banned me twice. So you banned me
let's
twice on the program.
No,
So
okay.
I don't call when you're on.
Wow. I don't know. I don't recall
Yeah,
that,
let's
but
go ahead. Go ahead.
you make your
let's
point.
Yeah.
Make your point quickly.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with that. I wanna say something else. Shaquille, the lady Maloney.
Shafiqua, yes.
Right now as I speak, I'm watching the New York Marathon. So it would have been good if she could have been on there.
Ooh.
Pamela Valentine never was. I never see Pamela Valentine on it. Although I know he running the UK Marathon, the London Marathon. So
Yes.
it would have been good.
But she's a
But-
middle distance runner.
But she's a middle. Look, she is actually virtually still regarded by some other sprinter, you know. She runs 200, 400, and 800. She caps it off in terms of
Okay.
the longest distance at the 800. So I don't think necessarily that she is oriented. She would not say, no, the marathon is something significantly different. If she were running the 5,000 and the 10,000, then maybe you can say she can go on to up to the marathon, which is 42,000 kilometers.
But Joel, let's make it clear and plain. Those are personal decisions that the athletes make, whether or not they want to take part in the London Marathon, in the New York Marathon.
but
New York
those are personal
London,
decisions.
yeah,
Those
Boston
are personal
Marathon.
decisions.
but Sean, it's not that easy and straightforward. I mean, she's a very talented athlete, but certainly it's not that easy to say to move from 800 meters to a marathon. Anything else?
No,
that you
but
would
a
like
marathon
to
running
raise?
is a personal decision for anybody.
Yeah,
If
yes.
you want, if you feel that you have the endurance, are you fit enough, you can take part in the marathon. Once you
Yes.
qualify to
Yes.
enter.
Okay, so anything else that you wanted to raise?
There could be more issues, you know. Some could be financial, some could be political, and some could be the
Yeah,
rules. They may be governed by rules
Sure,
of their
yeah, sure,
association, which does not allow them to
but
to
she's
run in that.
she's not there.
Usain Bolt never was in that. Usain Bolt
Exactly,
never,
for
was
that
in the New York
same
Marathon.
reason.
Yeah.
For that same reason. Okay, so that's it.
My second thing is you were talking about black businesses that were all Vincentian owned businesses
Oh, that's
at
last
one
week?
time, and
Or
you had
a
a
couple.
business.
Yes.
No. You might have touched it briefly last week, but before that you were talking about the businesses owned by Vincentian over the years.
Yes.
And I don't know, so I'm asking you, the business that you headed for a long time, is that Vincentian owned or foreign owned?
It is the majority of the shareholders are based in. It's a company owned by Goddard Enterprises out of headquartered in Barbados, and the majority of the shareholders of Goddard Enterprises are Barbadian, but they are Vincentians and people from around the world who own shares in Goddard Enterprises. But by and large, it's a company owned 100% by Goddard Enterprises.
Gettys Grant and Hazel, that's all incorporated into Correa too?
Gettys Grant, no. Hazel's is incorporated, yes.
Yeah, but I see them as the Walmart of St. Vincent. I would compare them to the Walmart of St. Vincent, the variety of stuff that they have. No free plug for them, but sorry I call the name, but that's all I gotta say. So have a good day. Bye bye.
All right, okay. Thank you very much for calling.
You really was a joke, boy.
Richard, I was thinking the same thing, and he wanted to cover all that he couldn't cover before. But my friend, you're free to call the program anytime. All we ask is to be respectful of people you refer to and of the hosts of the program. But you're free to call anytime and discuss any issue. Yeah, Joel, sorry.
Okay, so just to close on this, the question before, the issue of the music and so on. I trust that someone who's listening, maybe whether it's from the Attorney General's chambers or a member of cabinet, the Minister of Legal Affairs, or someone even responsible, the Minister of Information, or even someone from NBC Radio as well, may wish to comment on the issue and see how we can actually build this and ensure that the music is made available to Vincentians at home and abroad. Linked with this, Cecil and Pigeon, we were talking last week about the fact that I think it was my brother who had called in from Canada and made the point about we not having even a local literature text, locally written, on the syllabus in our schools, primary or secondary, whether a play or so on. And I think I mentioned, like, for example, Schools Out was one from a Jamaican writer and so forth. And then my mind just think, it would be good. We have material that we can certainly pull together. People like Blazer Williams come readily to mind in terms of the plays and so on that are available. And the other writers have put out work and so forth. But one that I say I would love to see given consideration is the work by G.C.H. Thomas, ruler in Hyrule. And this is written in prose and narrative. And then there was the play written by Alwyn Bully the late Alwyn Bully of Dominica as well. And it would be good that if we can actually have both the play and the text in terms of the original publication by G.C.H. Thomas available and used in the schools and so on, because it is, some persons acknowledge that is fiction and it's part fact in terms of the history, modern history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and so on. And this is, for example, one of the works that we can, as we try to build our national identity and let Vincentians get a full appreciation as to who we are as a people and where we have come from. So I just wanted to make that. I don't know if you have any comments on that before I move on to the next topic that I wanted to. All linked in again with the whole question of independence and so on. If not, then I just said another one, and I see it has been every now and again it comes up about the renaming of places and or remodeling of things, redesigning of things and places. And I think you, Pigeon, mentioned last week, echoing the view of we have a caller, echoing the view of
Dr. Scott.
Of Dr. Scott and so on. And Dr. Scott as well, he's not speaking in isolation. There were quite a few persons, including the Prime Minister at one time, had also spoken about I would not say nefarious character, or maybe the inappropriate use, adoption of certain names, given the character and the legacy and so on of some people. Let's take the call now. Just 1 second. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Issue at Hand.
Good afternoon. Of all the independence celebration and whatever they have had, I took away one thing from it. It's the groundbreaking ceremony for the acute referral hospital that will be in Annisfield.
Acute hospital.
Hello?
Acute hospital. Take out the referral.
The acute hospital. Okay, sorry. But my thing is, what I took away from it is the singing of the Taiwanese anthem by Faith Grant. Faith was great. And I mean, you and I maybe don't even know the words in Taiwanese for Taiwan national anthem, but you could have seen the Taiwanese was singing along with her. So what she was saying was correct. And I really congratulate her. Maybe the Lord knows why she's like this and why, she have a talent that, I don't know. But may the good Lord just continue to be with her and strive with her. She was good. She was great. Really great. That is what I took away from the independence celebration. Thank you.
I agree
Before you go.
Don't go yet. Just hold a minute. Cecil, go ahead.
Yeah, Bush is gone. I was going to ask her. She didn't say who she is, but the voice sounded familiar, Pijan. So I was going to ask her to confirm whether or not is the person I was thinking about. She has not called the program for a long time, and she's one of our favorites participants in the program. So I just wanted to establish. But greetings and I hope you're doing well, caller. You didn't say who you are, but I suspect you are. Yes, Joel. Sorry.
Yes, certainly. I appreciate the call. And you know what would have been nice, though, is if young Faith would have been able to hear her comments and so
I'm
on. They should have
I'm
been
sure.
listening at
In
the
fact,
time.
as a matter of fact, I believe Faith, if not Faith herself, but her mom might be listening to the program, or her uncle listening to the program right now.
Yes, and share that with. I mean, yes, she was
Yeah.
fantastic. And she sang as well at the anniversary celebrations of the Taiwanese on the I think it's the 8th of October,
Yes.
celebrating 1010 and so on. And wonderful, wonderful. And persons like Faith is all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines should embrace at not just at the time of independence, but just remember that Faith is an example of the personality, the persona and character of the Vincentian people. Challenges and setbacks, we set them
Well, that's
aside as much
but
as we
that's the point. That's the point. Faith is differently abled, and she's definitely an expression of the term differently abled, and she's good.
Yes.
She's just wonderful.
Yeah, well, appreciate the call, and I am sure that the lady who just called in, Cecil, would have heard you.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
she's a regular.
yeah, so I just wanted to take on the renaming of plates and so forth, and we talked about, I mean, Dr. Scott and others, quite a few others, and so forth. That, but I just wanted to say something in terms of assuming at some stage in the future that, on the near future or not so near, that we would incrementally or basket blanket way make wholesale changes. We have another call in the meantime. Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to It's Your Hand.
Hi, good afternoon, and how are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I am blessed. All right, happy independence. It's not too late.
No, it's not too late. Go ahead.
Right. I have few little, I have seen a large turnout at Victoria Park. It doesn't matter the time, but I enjoyed myself. But I have some concern. Are you talking anything specific as I just entered the home?
Yeah, I was. We had moved on from but certainly we would certainly accept if you're commenting on that. But we were moving on to the renaming of places and the remodeling or redesign of certain things, especially in the context of our independence celebrations. But go ahead.
Oh, so can I make? Okay. Yeah. I saw a circular recently by the Ministry of Education concerning that we have a new parish, which is the Grenadines.
Yes.
I don't know what take them so long, and I don't know what criteria they use to put the Grenadines also as a parish.
But
Pigeon, go ahead.
A parish.
Yeah.
Is a church division.
A church?
Yes.
So it's all the Grenadines Island, my Quick one.
Hold on a while. Church districts are divided into parishes. Okay. And it is used to designate a particular district that comes under a church. So, so take the Anglican Church, for instance. You have St. Patrick, St. Andrew. Those are parishes because they are church divisions. Municipal divisions, that's something else. Where places, geographical areas are divided into districts or towns or cities, as the case to be. When it comes to church, they are referred to as parishes.
Okay, so is it all the Grenadines Island?
What I've seen in the paper is that the Grenadines as a collective, as one, today there are 6 parishes: St. Patrick, St. David, St. Andrew, St. George, then on the eastern side, Charlotte, and then the Grenadines, 6. But the point that Pigeon made, I think, is important. I would love to get more information on it because...
yes, I would love to get more as well.
Yeah, but you're making a point behind it? Go ahead.
No. I have two other concerns, right? The rising food prices. Christmas is coming up, and this is November. Trust me. And I went into a store. I'm not going to call the store name. One single line for $5.05. 2 tomatoes, $12 and something. 2
You're kidding me.
And notes.
$24.13. And this is just November. Eh? This is just November.
And
right?
I think the limes are referring to also imported.
Right. Okay. I trust me. Food prices is what I would like to see. I know normally there's a Black Friday sale. I would like to see a serious reduction when coming to food. Black Friday sale and food. Right? People have TV fridge at home. Also, lastly, house insurance. I have a problem with house insurance because these insurance companies, they don't consult with own homeowners. When you go there to pay insurance, they're telling you, did you receive the email? The insurance is now $1,000 whatever, without consultation. And also they undervalue your house because when you pay at the bank, you might buy a house for say $240, but when you insure the house, they're insuring it for less than what the house actually value. That is my concern. I hope the relevant authority, trust me, is listening to deal with these problems. I'm fed up now. Have a blessed day.
Wait,
Bye-bye.
would you want to stay on just for a couple more minutes? Because you touched on 3 different subjects, and I think that they're all very important, and I certainly appreciate your call. If you have a couple of minutes that you can stay. P-John, let's just go back to the issue of the parishes first. I think the Church of England, the Anglican Church, I think that they have like a St. Paul's and so forth, but that, like Calico, for example, that's the St. Paul's Anglican Church. And I think
refer to the congregation as parishioners.
Right. And then I know like Bayabo and so on, and it's different. So I'm not sure exactly, not clear. So, but there seems to me as if there is the church parishes have also been accepted as also municipal parishes to a degree. It seems so, and that is why I say now the Ministry of Education, with assistance from the Ministry of Legal Affairs, is providing guidance to clear any misunderstandings and generally educate Vincentians concerning the number of parishes in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And for those who are not aware, and I quote, according to Chapter 341 of the Parish Boundaries Act, the 6 parishes in St. Vincent and Grenadines are 1 Charlotte, 2 St. George, 3 St. Andrew, 4 St. Patrick, 5 St. David, and 6 the Grenadines. Right, and it goes on more. I'm reading from the newspaper on page 12 and so on, and there's the caption that is there. Now, I think it's something that requires discussion, and I said, well, it has been decided this is how it's going to be. But when I looked at it, I had an issue with regard to, first of all, to Charlotte, and I asked myself whether or not should we be dividing the country by parishes, but rather we can determine municipal boundaries, even if you're dealing with it in a different way. I know we have the constituencies and so forth, but I still have an issue with using the parishes. Which come, and this to my mind is also a legacy of our colonial past, to my mind, especially when I'm staring at the map right now and I'm seeing Charlotte, which was previously in in the mid 1800s, 1763 and beyond. The cartographers had it as Carib territory because that is how it was. It belonged to the Caribs until by British colonial design, they took over the rest of St. Vincent and Grenadines and kicked out the Garifuna and so forth. But still, the queen of the day, Charlotte, who was referred to by some persons as the Black Queen, she came into position, I think, around 1844. And I think until she died somewhere around 1918 or something like that, the grandmother of Queen Victoria, so on. And it is still Charlotte today. And I am still wondering, why is it that we should still, in 2024, decide that this is what it's going to be. Charlotte was the queen of St. Vincent and Grenadines when the Garifuna people when the genocide pretty much was perpetrated under the Garifuna people of St. Vincent. And yet we have today in 2024 that virtually from Fancy down to it looks like maybe Brighton or something of the sort, that that this parish officially accepted or recognized is called Charlotte. And I think that that is wrong and it's improper. And I think this is one of the things that I was talking about when I was about to speak on the question of the renaming of the places and so forth. And this is one that I think that should be addressed. The second thing that
before we go on, Joel,
yes.
just allow me to say that
yes, go ahead.
We're still ahead of many other countries in the Caribbean, so in the Eastern Caribbean. Grenada referred to it as parishes, in both in terms of their in the religion sense, as in Anglican, but also in terms of the geographic sense. That's how Grenada
So does
referred to them.
Barbados. I
And I
accept
was coming to Barbados. So it's not something unique to St. Vincent de Grenadines. In fact, if you recall, we don't on a daily, we don't refer to, we don't say we are from Charlotte Parish or St. Patrick's Parish. We ignore them, and I believe that's part of the struggle of our people to kind of fight back English colonialism, British colonialism and that kind of thing.
But yeah, I understand. But that's especially when I'm staring at the map right before me
No,
now.
I don't dispute the point you're making. I don't dispute the point you're making. All I'm saying is that we are still better than other Caribbean countries where parish is prominent. The use of parish is very
Yeah,
prominent.
but not good enough.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay, all right. Point taken. The second thing you spoke about. What was the second item again? You spoke. I know the third had to do with prices.
The increase of food prices.
That was the second, and the third was
insurance.
Insurance. Okay, the food prices. Well, it's unfortunate. It's since COVID and so forth. It has been import driven. By and large, we have had to import a lot of the inflationary pressures. By and large, came from outside. But our situation in recent times have been made worse by, in a sense, you can say to the back of it is climate change. The issue of the hurricanes, and so I just yesterday, yesterday, I saw like some planting and so on at the food court at Annesville. And there was such elation for persons who want to get, and they didn't bother to think about what the price was and so forth. And this is a plant already fried and so forth as part of a meal plan at the food court. And you can't get bananas. I don't know when last you got bananas to buy or to eat. It's and the limes is a problem as well, along with other things. But I think that at some point, is it the forces of supply and demand just basically saying that the demand is so great that even if I buy it for $2, I'm talking about the vendor, and I import it $2, I can sell it for $5 because that is the price that my product can fetch. At some point, I think that we got to be able to draw the line. I think we have been moving away from price controls and so forth. But I don't know what's happening, not unless the price of this lime in Trinidad or elsewhere is virtually coming, leaving Trinidad at $4 EC. And it gets to the buyer at $5. But it is, I agree, it is tough. What do you do? And there are a number of things that affect the menu and the health. If people want to eat healthy meals and so on, it is very difficult. It is very, very costly. It's a discussion point. Go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you. It's very costly. And when you look at the nutrition, where they talk about eat a balanced diet, and also you have to look at we have to combat a lot of non-communicable diseases. Now, if people can't eat a proper diet every day. We are going to have a lot of non-communicable disease, which also will put a strain on the health sector.
Yes.
The question of limes, if you
Cecil?
recall, the question of limes has been a problem in the production of limes in St. Vincent. If you guys recall, has been linked with a problem, a pest. Because
Yes.
a lot of the lime trees that I know about have kind of either they died out completely or it stopped produce. And I think it's one of the issues that the Ministry of Agriculture needs to deal with more aggressively. I know they've been trying since the problem was introduced, but they need to deal with it aggressively because the supply of limes in St. Vincent and Grenadines has basically dried up. Supply of limes in the market. It has basically been dried up. So the Ministry of Agriculture needs to give attention more aggressively to the question of dealing with that pest. The other thing is that Joel, the question of you mentioned it, the shortage in the supply of say plantains for example, or agricultural food generally has been linked to the passage of burial. Burial has affected us significantly, and until we get back to that point, we have to deal with the question of the short supply and hence the high cost of these foods. I mean, I thought by now we would have gotten over that, but apparently, even not yet over that problem caused by burial.
Not yet. And maybe there might be other markets, Caller, Cecil and Pigeon, where we can perhaps get some of these, but like limes and so on. Like I know, for example, and I have where the limes and so on are available in Mexico. But it's a question of logistics and getting the limes and so forth from Mexico to St. Vincent and so on. Notwithstanding the cost of sea transport as well. But it is an issue, but I think it is something that we can discuss. I know that the Minister of Agriculture and other persons connected to farming generally been talking now about question of backyard farming and so forth, that persons can have to eat what they grow.
Yeah, let me hurry up before I leave. Even though you have backyard farming, it's not everything we can grow, right? Because of land space, you might try to get a barrel or two, right? But you have to look at this price gouging. Now, one more point before I go. The price at the supermarket also, they are not in sync with the price on the shelf and the price in the cash machine also. They are not in sync. Because I vividly remember purchasing a green tea bag. On the shelf, you have it for $12.70, but in the cash machine, you have it for $14.70. Well, I demand that I'm not moving. I'm paying $12.70 because I saw it on the shelf. This is also, we need to educate customer. Once I see something on the shelf, that is what I am paying for. I don't care about your cash machine.
Fully agree with you. I fully agree with you.
I leave in the money right there. You can't lock me up. You can't touch me. Okay?
So
that is also a serious problem. Price on the shelf not in sync with the cash register. Or they didn't have enough time to change it from, because you go today, tomorrow you go back, the price only changing every minute.
Yeah, fully agree with you. Fully.
So we need, and Christmas
you just
is coming.
open my eyes.
Understand me? Yes, and people.
That's why it's important after you've done your purchase, make sure you check back your bill with the items
Check your bill. Trust me.
Extremely important.
Because things really expensive. Two little item you're getting $300. You want to know if they lost somewhere in the machine or something. So Pigeon, be vigilant this Christmas, okay?
That's what
and listeners, Pigeon and listeners to the program.
Pigeon, you in particular, Pigeon, be very vigilant. That was I think an excellent contribution from the last caller. We didn't touch on the issue of the insurance.
But Joel, it was her calling Pigeon's name was also to say to Pigeon, you know who is calling.
Yes, I know.
Exactly. Thank you. We have another caller on WhatsApp. Let's hope that we can receive this call. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Yes, I know.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Providence. How are you?
I'm fine.
Mr. John, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I just
Mr. Ryan as well is with us.
Oh yeah, Mr. Ryan. My name
And
is
I'm going to
Anita.
make a request. I'm going to make a request. Your device in the background is
Yes, some
need to come
background,
down.
some background
I'm
noises.
sorry.
Yes,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
some voices
Alexa,
in the back.
stop. My apologies,
Okay,
please.
Go
go
ahead.
ahead,
Yeah,
Anita.
yeah. I just called to second that lady, and I hope other consumers are listening. If something is on the shelf with a price, that is what you pay. I went home
Right.
one time a couple of years ago, and there was a box on the floor with lots of short pants in there, and it said everything here $5. I took home clothes for my boys, but because I see them, I pick up four. When I got to the cashier, the lady said to me, I see she cashed $9.99. So I said, Miss, no, the box say $5. Oh, the sale is finished. I said, but if the sale is finished, the sign should be removed. And she grumbled on her breath. Um, I think when I go, I could bring overseas things here. So I I knew my rights. Now, if she didn't say that, I would have put them back. So I went and I asked the lady, is a supervisor on call here? And she said, I said, can I get him or her? When the gentleman came out and I told him and I showed him the box, I said, this is misleading to the public, sir. I said, but not only that, is a sarcasm remark that the lady used to me. So you go and make her apologize. And, sorry. I said, no, I'm not accepting that. I said, my name is Anita and I wanted to address me properly right in front of the man. That man end up gave me the pants at $5, and not only that, gave me the other two. I say, you have so much people in here standing up, doing nothing. If the sale is finished 2 days ago, why is the sign still being there? In Canada here and all the places I go, the price that is on the shelf, you pay. When the sale price is on, they remove the home sign. So I want consumers to notice that from now. I've had the experience in St. Vincent and I don't take it. What's on the shelf is what I am paying for it. And as the lady said, they can't touch you, they can't mislead the public. But we are unique people and they do some stuff. Mr. John, quickly, what become of your nephew, Tidal John?
That's my uncle.
Your uncle, my apologies.
The last place I know is he was in. I think it's in the BVI.
Okay, but he's
US.
still
Is
alive
that
though.
the US? Is that the US BVI pigeon? US. I'm sorry. Is the
Um,
US? You
I
you
think it's the
VI?
USVI, St.
VI.
John on
Yes.
one of those
Okay.
islands.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
USVI.
He was my school. We were in class together at Lord Village School. Bright as a morning star, just as if I'm seeing him with that slight buff or tall and slender. Yes. All right, then
Okay, thank you very much.
you're very welcome. Take care. Thanks. Bye bye.
Of course, you know that there's a defense that some store owners can have because if, for example, there's an item that is priced for, say, $5,000 and they leave out a zero and it's 500, and you turn up to the cash register with this item, 5,000, you say, I am only paying 500. That there's still a defense available to the store owners to not sell you that item for 500 on the basis of mistake and so on. So it's not entirely clear
But
cut.
Joel, we're going to have a
Mhm.
long discussion on this because whose responsibility for the mistake? Suppose the item, suppose it's the other way around, that an item for $10 and the post is asked to pay
Pay
the
100,
yeah. Who's
and when
because
after
isn't
and then when after they leave the store and they recognize that no, something is wrong, that they should not be $100, they should not have paid the $100. They can come back.
no, but
They can come back.
you see that's the point, eh?
Yeah.
From my own knowledge and experience, is the displayed
Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Somebody's on.
Yeah. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to It's Your Hand.
Good afternoon, Provi,
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
and Cecil and Pigeon.
This sounds like Mr. Russell from the Bank of St. Vincent and the
Yeah,
Grenadines.
Mr. Serlian,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Greetings.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. Morning. Good evening. Yeah, I'm calling in with the lady, second to last caller who called with the issue of the insurance.
Yes.
She mentioned that some insurance companies are on the uninsuring properties, right? I don't think I don't know of any insurance company that does that in St. Vincent, uninsure the property. What I believe some people might mistaken in that case is where you actually, when you get a property, especially where government have a program where they back loans with the 100% mortgages and so forth, right? And some institution who provide 100% mortgage also, you may find that the value, when what is insured is not in the value of the property, but is actually the value of the house or the structure and the contents or and including like if you have things like fencing and those kind of things, but the land itself is not insured. So if you have 100% financing where it includes the property, the land as well, and you go to insure it, let us say for argument's sake the property is valued at 100,000, sorry, at 500,000, but the land is valued at 100,000. It means the structure, which is valued at 4. What the insurance company will insure is the value of the property structure, which is 400,000. So your property might value at 500,000, but it's really the structure being insured and not the value of the property, the entire property. So I just wanted to make that clarification in relation to what the lady indicated, because I don't think that insurance company deliberately will undershow will insure property uninsure property deliberately. You know. But the other thing that she did, go ahead.
No, okay. Well, I just wanted to ask the question: if let's say, let's say in 2015, that you insure a house for 400,000, but inflation and all sort of things really push up the true value up to maybe 550,000, and so on. But sometimes the insurance will just simply go and insure you year after year at the same thing as if the original value, in a sense. And then when anything happens, the fire or whatever, then that property effectively could be uninsured.
Exactly, and exactly that was the other way where the owner stays on the property owner to make sure they go and they go and revalue their property and ensure that when they're insuring it that they increase the value. And if not, they're the ones who will be with their loss in terms of if there's a claim to be made. You know, and she did mention the issue of insurance being too high. Just to say that in these times now where we see the impact of climate change and more these sort of devastating hurricanes that we have in every year and the destruction that they're causing, not just to St. Vincent and Grenadines alone, but it's part the hurricane belt right up to Florida, even go beyond. We see in level of destruction, and all of these insurance companies end up reinsure with a bigger company. And once we continue to have these sort of devastated hurricanes and so forth, that is a driver too in terms of driving up the cost of insurance. So I just wanted to highlight those two issues.
Yeah, thank you very much for yes, and we look forward to hearing you from time to time. It's good. Cecil, I think you were making a point as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was.
I don't know if we are concluding what it was, but okay. So then, but we got the contribution of the caller, and then Anita called in afterwards. Pijan, was there anything else in relation from Anita's contribution? Okay, then we can move on. Okay, it's now much later than I had realized. And so I just wanted to say, well, okay, the Pijan and Cecil, on Tuesday in the United States of America, we have another caller. In the United States of America, they're going to have a presidential election. The person left, Any?
Not just presidential, the general election, because the House
Yeah,
and the Senate
Senate. Yeah,
are also program.
and
Yes.
lower some lower.
And some state offices.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, the governors would have their election. Not every governor would be up for
right,
re-election. No,
right.
not every senator, but every congressperson would be, because they're every 2 years. And then every 4 years it would be the president. But generally they refer to this is the presidential election year and so forth. But anyway, what are the implications you see for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines based on the outcome?
To me, the rhetoric from Harris sounds good. And if she gets to do what she wants to, I think the United States will be better off.
Let's take the call again. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello?
Yes, you're
Yeah,
an issue at hand.
Yeah, I'm just going to spend less than 20 seconds. I'm going to ask a question and listen to your answer off the air. You just had the guy on from the insurance company.
No,
Let's say,
the banker. But go ahead.
but the insurance question. So let's say during the hurricane, a neighbor's satellite dish fall off their roof and hit the neighbor's, damage the property of the neighbor, the window, whatever, antenna, whatever. Both of them don't have insurance. Who is responsible? If it's just an act of nature, or is that person responsible for replacing it for the other neighbor? I'll listen to your answer off the air.
Don't go, my friend, don't go yet.
He's gone.
Are you there?
He's gone.
Yeah,
but go ahead, Cecil.
No, but he's running. No, I'm not going to answer him on the question of insurance because I don't know that answer. But I wanted to invite him. The question that you're posing, Joel. I don't know where he lives. I don't know if he lives in the United States or in Canada. I know he lives somewhere overseas. So in as much as he said earlier when he called that he's not allowed by me to be on the program, I wanted to hear his views on the question of the same question that you posed. But he's gone.
Oh, okay. All right. The question is that if an antenna that is secured or anything else, ordinarily securely attached to the ground, the building, or whatever, and in a reasonable manner, and then a hurricane with winds of 150 and so forth, and it is uprooted and causes damage to the neighboring house. That, to my mind, would be an act of God, and no one, to my mind, would be responsible whether they have insurance or not. But if it is poorly and there's some degree of responsibility on the part of the neighbor to ensure that the antenna, whatever it is properly secured, and is not the case, then that neighbor could be held liable based on common law of tort. He could be held liable, but you have to then prove a number of things in making that claim. So the key is always so that just in case of anything, don't think about it. Just go and get your property insured. That's it. So back to the question of Tuesday. Pigeon, you were saying?
Yeah, I'm saying Kamala sounds good for the United States and for the rest of the world. The other guy, what can we say about the other guy?
He looks backward.
I'm wondering if he is right in his head.
Pigeon, he may be right in his head, but he's looking backward. Maybe.
Yeah, but and it surprises me that the race is so close.
Well, then that is perhaps not necessarily a reflection on the ability of this gentleman in question to market himself to the whole nation, but perhaps it's also a reflection of the people that have the the population of the United States would see things his way, because that is the way how they see the world.
In my view, Pigeon, it reflects he simply is bringing to the fore the underbelly of United States society, and that's why he feels and he says boldly, back to the back, you're going back, you're looking back. That's the underbelly of United States society in terms of all the elements, the social elements, social and political elements, and take it from one, the election of a woman and a black woman at that. United States has never um, voted for the presidency position for a woman. Remember what happened to Hillary Clinton? And secondly, in this case, it's a black woman, a woman of Asian and Jamaican heritage. And in terms of the rest of the underbelly I'm talking about, is America in its true sense. The question of racism, the question of how
Oh, yes.
the question of
Someone was
how
trying to
men.
call Cecil.
Oh, sorry.
No, they've
So,
gone. But you go ahead and finish your point, and I invite the
yeah.
person to call back.
So because of racism, question of how men see women, is a whole sort of range of social issues. So I think this is where we are, Pigeon, and that's why the things look so close. The races look so close.
Hello, good afternoon. It's your turn.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Junior Ryan.
Junior Ryan.
Yes, please.
Related to Cecil Ryan?
No, please, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
He said, no, please, sir. Wait, ask him. Where is he from? St. Vincent and Grenadines?
Where you calling from, Mayor?
Beckway,
okay.
Oh, we may have different political views. I think that's what you're referring to. But all the Ryans in St. Vincent, as far as I'm aware, from my checking, are all related. They're from the same roots. But anyway, my friend, go ahead.
Good.
Yes, please. Mr. Providence, make a point earlier on in terms of the parishes, and he spoke about Charlotte, which is a very, very important in our history. Something we have to be careful how we want, what kind of history we want. Do we want that one? What kind of history we really want for our country? Because the point you make about Charlotte is a very, very valid one. I thank you very much, please.
Okay, thank you, June. Yeah, Junior, you still there? You want to stay on there, or you?
I'm here. I'm here.
All right, well, then you can respond. Anyone wants to respond to Junior?
No, it's just that, I mean, you can't. I mean, for me, how can one disagree with the point that in terms of our history, it's a fact. It happened where Charlotte, where she was the Queen of England, and that particular parish was named after her. Is appointed. So, in as much as we're talking about a rebirth of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and if you like, a refocusing of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you have to place that particularly in context and see whether or not that is where we want to go forward. In my view, that ought not to be where we want to go forward. It has to be, a revision of where we want to go and a change.
But it's part of our history as well.
Well, yeah, it's a point. That's why I said it's a point in history that happened. But do we want to? Well, I don't know. You may. Well, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to identify with it, to be honest.
Thank you very much.
But
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Junior.
Pigeon Junior sounds like you there.
Yeah,
well, I was about to make the point that I consider myself a retentionist.
That's a new one for me, Pigeon.
Because there's something I think we should retain.
All right.
Yeah,
so, you sure you don't sound like a trumpist? A trumpet?
We're not changing the history, but certainly there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to frame our future based on things like that, and where we know of association between Queen Charlotte, and what has happened to the California people. and so on. So we don't have to that. We don't have to change the history. We don't have to attempt to change the history, but certainly the narrative can change going forward as to who we are as a people and what we want to represent us. Yes. So elections are on. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think it could very well even end up being 269, or something very, very close. And as a result, I don't think that the elections will be over on Tuesday night. I think that it'll be so close, and that there'll be several states that will be deemed too close to call, and that while we wait for the early voters, those who would mail in votes still to be counted and so forth, CNN and other television stations will be reluctant to make a call on certain seats, and therefore will be in limbo. And the more that we're in limbo, it opens the door for all sorts of things to happen, where they could even have something worse than what transpired on January the 6th in 2021. Let's hope that's not the case. It has implications for us in these parts. And I think that's something that favors St. Vincent and the Grenadines, should be, hopefully would be the result that that come the 6th of January next year. That is something that favors St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the whole world, actually, and America as a whole.
But Charlie, you asked for the implications.
Yes.
What are the implications? Immediately, based on what Donald Trump has said, and his people, Donald Trump and his people have said over and over again. The first thing that I see, if we believe in what he's saying, is that all of those Vincies living in America who are not regularized, not only Vincies, but other groups, other immigrant groups who are not regularized, would be immediately deported. That's what he said.
Yes.
He said he's going to send the military to make sure that they're deported. And he repeated it. He has repeated it. So that's one implication. So we can have, going back to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a group of people who went to America and are there contributing to the American society in a number of ways, including, in a number of ways. They can find themselves next day after January 6th being rounded up and sent back to St. Vincent, and St. Vincent has to deal with that. That's one implication. And I mean, I believe what the man is saying. And linked to that is a whole set of other implications, which, well, I know we don't have time to go to them all now. But that is a big one for me. That is a big one. Well, as some people would say, a bitching one, in terms of the immediate effect of a Donald Trump's victory in the United States on the 6th, on Tuesday. I just want to mention that one.
Yes, there are quite a few. There's another one that I would mention is the inflationary effect of his tariff proposals.
That's right. I agree that
20% on Chinese goods. That is going to just have a knock-on effect right down the road. It's going to make challenges for West Indians who live in the United States. The remittances then that we'd want to be able to send home is going to be even challenged greater, and it's an important.
And the barrels that we're going to get would be reduced because the prices for items going in the barrel will go up, and therefore there would be less barrels coming to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other Caribbean places, certainly during the following Christmas.
And think of a situation. Think of a situation in St. Vincent where we eliminate the Ministry of Education.
Well, that's the other point, Pijan. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what sense that make.
Well, that's the point. That's why you have,
But of course, the persons who depend on public schooling and so on, because virtually they rallied about defunding the police, but they were talking about defunding public schooling and so on. And you know who go to public schools and so forth. What are the implications there? And don't mention about housing.
I just want to mention one other thing, gentlemen, to bring us, and there's so many. But you remember when Trump was president, and there was, I don't remember the hurricane when Puerto Rico was damaged and perhaps even destroyed. Well, Joel, you remember it well. Trump went to Puerto Rico and was throwing out paper towel. You remember that,
Yeah.
that picture to people?
Yeah.
And you remember Trump said of people, certainly Haitian people, they're from shithole countries. You remember that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
20,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
And in this present campaign here, one of his people who was on a platform referred to Puerto Rico as a floating garbage,
An
I
island
mean,
of garbage, yes.
yeah, you have to believe what these
And,
people are
and before
saying.
that, he referred to the Haitians as eating pets,
Eating
not
pets and
cats and
cats.
dogs.
So the implication of all of those is what message is sending to the rest of America in terms of how to look at immigrant people and people like from Puerto Rico, from St. Vincent and Africa and Haiti. You're saying to them, these are not human beings, and you have to treat them as non-human beings. And in a very direct way and in a very real way. You're saying to them, when you relate to these people, make sure you relate to them like that, and I will support you as president.
The
That is
last time,
what we're hearing.
74 million persons voted for Trump. The last go around, and it could very be more than likely it will be more this time. And they're voting them based on what he said, his rhetoric, and so
Yeah,
on. What he's
yeah,
going to do, and if he
exactly.
gets in, they're going to expect him to fulfill
All of those
these promises,
promises.
or whatever you may call them, and so on. So it's going to
Joel,
be.
Joel, I fully agree with you. That's what I mean. That's We have to deal with the reality. That's what it is. We may not. Some people who are listening to us may not agree with us, but the man is saying what he intends to do, and he's repeating those things multiple times.
But
So you have to believe him.
The acolytes, the apologists, the defenders, and so on are saying, but he didn't do it some of these things the last time around. So why you believe that is not just idle talk? And so you saw. But some of the things he didn't do because the people who with him, the chief of staff and other persons, and so on, they prevented him from doing it. They recognized, no, that is too bold, and so on. I remember that one when he was there the last time around, he was even talking about let's bomb Venezuela or do something about Venezuela.
Yeah.
I don't know if
But
you recall that.
yeah, but Joel, to the extent that those same people who were with him then have now removed themselves and are with Kamala Harris's campaign, because they're saying they can't afford to have this man going there and doing those things.
And he is now maybe for worse, is actually wiser. And so when he said that the last time around that he put in place in 2017 early, that he put in place the best cabinet ever, and so on. Now he's not going to have those sort of persons again. He's going to ensure that every single one of his appointees are persons who would support him, his acolytes and so on, are going to be supporting him hands down.
And who would execute his plans and his ideas.
Yes, and so on. And then make it worse. I mean, we were talking earlier on about the fact that it's not just one election, it's several. And what happens if not only that the gentleman is elected president, but his party is in charge of the Senate, which is possible. It's now projected that they would get more than more than 50 of the Senate seats, and if they retain control of Congress, that's it. The kind of decisions that he can make and so forth across the board, it would be all encompassing, very wide, and so forth. The last time he had to come to terms with Nancy Pelosi and so forth, and in terms of the Congress, but now maybe this time around, we don't know. So we just have to hope and follow everything. And for those persons who do not necessarily follow or have an interest in the U.S. elections, I hope that they would, even for the next 2 years, because it has implications. They have implications for us here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, the rest of the Caribbean and the world. So that's what it is. We are now close to 1 p.m. Any closing in thoughts, gentlemen? Cecil, Pijan?
The other significant event for Tuesday is public speaking competition. Secondary schools public speaking competition will be held on Tuesday night.
Oh.
So I don't have all the details in front of me now, but just to urge our listeners to look out. Most likely will be carried by VC3.
Okay. So that means you'll be switching between one channel and the next, yes.
Joel,
Cecil?
you would raise the question of the vote in the parliament that just happened, but you didn't elaborate on it. What implications are going forward for politics and so on? The vote in the parliament was held.
Oh, you mean in terms
Tuesday?
of the representation of the people
Act. Yeah, I
amendment?
don't know. Yes, you'd mentioned it. I think you'd mentioned it at the beginning.
Yes, in the beginning, yes, and so forth. Any quick comment on it? I would certainly say that it is welcome, and it's an opportunity now for the public servant, because there's a restriction on which class of public servants would be able to participate in a general election and so forth. And I think it is by and large welcome. Both parties agreed and supported it, and let's see that it is balanced and we are all mature, particularly with regard to the public servants and so forth, and there are no unnecessary issues arising in a particular department as a result of one member of that department deciding to run and contest an election and so on, and if they lose, and to return, and if they qualify to return, and that everything is not a problem thereafter and so on. So let's hope that we will be all very mature about it. But certainly from my standpoint, I am in support.
I generally welcome it, and it's long overdue. The seed was planted since 2005 in the teachers' collective agreement with the government. However, I would also like us to think about a wholesale revision of the Representation of the People's Act. There are some other issues that the supervisor of election in the past raised before. One of them, for instance, the 15-day registration period just before after the election is called. And there are some other issues that we probably need to look at and to look at the act and make it more modern, more robust.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, yes, Cecil?
Yeah. I was going to say that first of all, I agree with both of you generally in terms of the position of persons who are allowed to vote. I certainly agree. But I also, Pijan, the particular point you just raised about the 15-day registration. In some jurisdictions, and certainly here and certainly in places like the United States, some states anyway, you can register on the same day and vote on the same day. It's a broad enough democracy. I don't have a problem with people. I don't think we can do it. I'm not sure if we can do it in our jurisdiction. But to me, the more you can allow people to be part of the process, if certainly for voting only, the better it is for democracy. So to me, if there is a revision of the Representation of the People Act, I would hope it goes in the direction of making it easier for people to participate, whether at the candidacy level or in voting, make it easier for people to be part of the process. So that I would not like to see a restriction or removal. Sorry, let me say it differently. I'm saying it wrong. I would like to see possibly a reduction in the amount of time leading up to election that people can register and vote. In other words, this 15-day thing, I wish it would be less than 15 days, which is that's my view.
I have a qualifying comment. I'm generally in support, but my qualifying comment, provided that there is no erosion of the security and of the election, that's the electoral process itself.
Okay.
Right, so that if you have your people, both parties have the persons in the polling station, to be able to get all the information. You could go through a particular list or whatever the case might be, and so forth, and they can make sure that there's no attempt to beat the system.
Yeah, I
So
agree, certainly.
once that is
But
covered,
earlier Rodney told us of how they use technology to do the display.
yes,
That's where we are. The age of technology. Why we can explore all of these things and see how they can assist us in making the process more secure, the voting process, and see how it they can help us to broaden the base of democracy in
yeah,
the
we have
country.
someone who's calling a little
No,
bit after one.
sorry.
We'll just take the call quickly and
Yeah. Go right ahead, Joe. I'm
no,
out.
the person just left. I don't know if I'll give them a few seconds to call back if they so choose. But the point about the technology, I would love to see, even for the next election, that you can actually persons can have before them, rather than have big piles of paper with voters lists and so forth. That they can actually have tablets and laptops and so on, where they can go through these lists if they want to verify whether or not someone's on the voting list.
Yeah.
And it's a PDF document, so you can't go in and
Can't change it. Yeah. I mean, why we use it in other instances?
Yeah. Well, excuse me, Cecil. Hello, good afternoon. You have a couple of seconds, if not.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Well, I agree with Mr. Ryan the big time. They need to free up the voting and registration and getting ID card. It's so much hard and going wrong. And the whole system in St. Vincent and Grenadines, things too hard to put in place. So free up the thing, man. So much of things Mr. Ryan is ready. Free up the whole system. System need to free up things too hard to get in St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Well, there's one thing though. Once you don't compromise in the process, once you don't compromise as Joel was saying, the security and the we have to put things in place so we don't compromise those things. But once those things are in place, I agree with you. Free up.
You come and you bought paper, you register your intention, and whoever foreigners who once you qualify to register your two things process too hard. We are ready to register in one election day. Once you have intention, you qualify to stop people from registering and vote, man.
No, we have to put the measures in place. We have to put the measures in place to ensure security and safety. But
Okay. Thank you, caller.
Okay.
Yes, okay. So that's it. Cecil, that's your closing comment?
Yes, those were my closing comments, Joel.
Okay, well, that's it. I just wanted to say that, Cecil and Pigeon, next week I want us to speak about the Garifuna, the settlers' arrival day in Belize, which is this month. And we can just talk about that. Certainly the events in Belize and the what's happening with the Garifuna committee and community. And maybe we can talk with someone there as to what's happening on November 19th. And with that, I think we should say goodbye for today. Thank you very much, listeners, for listening to another edition of Issue at Hand. This has been Issue at Hand for Sunday, November the 2nd, 2024. We thank you very much for listening, for participating, and we look forward to your involvement again in one way or another next Sunday for another Issue at Hand edition.